y'all? It's your girl, Bougie Candy, and I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in and plugging in to Women Unplugged.
Yes. I'm Penny Maud, Penny for your thoughts, aka Annie Oakley with the pen.
Okay, and I'm your girl, Lavina J. I got the news, I got the tea, whatever you need.
Y'all go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Women Unplugged _. Right. So let's soothe it down just a little bit and roll into our next topic, which is first time. Where is my wine?
Is that slowing it down?
Girl, you never know. You gotta slow it down to speed it up. You never know.
Okay.
All right. So let's just think back to our first time, ladies. You know, it was a very intimate, and I'm going to say fragile because it's like you're, in a sense, losing your purity in a way, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a very fragile, intimate moment, regardless of how it actually happened. Like, so for me, when I think back to my first time, the first thing I could think about was, I don't know, it was kind of awkward, actually. Like, it was like spur of the moment. My best friend was kind of like downstairs chilling. Well, he was my boyfriend, and my best friend was chilling downstairs with his friend. You know how your friends always used to come with us back in the day,
Yeah,
like, I got you, girl. You about to go, you know, we're gonna go hang out, or and I didn't really express to her that I thought I was ready. I didn't really express to anybody that I thought I was ready, my parents included, but I guess I just got to a point in the relationship with him where I felt like I was ready, and I just knew this day I was going to do it. So I did ask my best friend to come with me over there, and she was downstairs. I remember some Lil Wayne was playing, ironically.
Okay.
So Lil Wayne, give you your props, okay? Was going through, and I don't know, like, looking back on it, it's just like I didn't really have, up until that point, I really didn't have like a specific way that I thought it was going to go, or I really hadn't like said, oh, I want it to be in the candlelight with roses and this and that and the third. So I didn't really have any expectation. I just know it was just a little awkward. Because, you know, the first time was not really pleasurable for the female.
Listen here.
Let's just say that to say the least, right? Right.
Here is what I will say. I will say that prior to my first time, I give a massive amount of props to my mom because she was very open with me about the conversation of sex from a very young age. And she didn't put pressure on me as much as like, all right, when you're ready to do it, you better tell me. But she opened it up, and that was the part that made me feel like I was an adult and I got to make an adult decision. So
right.
She was like, you know, when you're ready, this is what happens. And she walked me through some of her experiences. And then she said, you know, when you are ready, you make sure you're protected. Come and tell me if you need birth control, because what you don't want is to get into the heat of the moment and not be protected.
When I say you are so fortunate for that, because my mom, she was kind of old school and kind of like introverted in a way where she automatically, when I got older and I asked her like, Mom, how come you didn't, you know, sit down and talk to me about intimacy or, you know, hormonal changes or just, you know, getting horny or having those urges that's natural. And she was like, well, I always led by example. And I felt like, you know, because you always see me with your father in a monogamous relationship with one man, that, you know, by me leading by example, that you knew that was what to do. And if anyone is listening to this show, I'm going to let you know
Don't
now,
assume.
do not assume. I am with Lavina where I would have much rather my mom had sat me down, regardless about how uncomfortable it was or wasn't, and just had that conversation with me. Coming from the home, coming from the source is so much different than it coming from friends or a mentor or auntie or grandma, whatever. Right, Benny?
Yes,
Definitely. Yeah.
Right?
No, definitely. I actually, a complete, like, side note, I saw Nene on The Breakfast Club, and she mentioned how, like, her and her husband Greg would take their son, like, to the strip club because it's like, you know, you're an adult, you're of age, so I would rather you experience it at home than to just go out and go crazy because, you know, it's just like, oh, I've never been exposed to this kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I definitely agree with that.
That's a little unethical strip club. Okay,
yeah,
all right. With the parents? All right.
I don't know. And my mom's in the military, so it's very interesting because she's a very structured woman in this way. But I also think it had a lot to do with, and this kind of makes it a little bit sobering, but my mom and I are both survivors of sexual assault.
Okay, wow. So she
like
really wanted to have that.
Yeah, after experiencing that, and you know, it is a traumatic event for any woman or man who's ever experienced it. I think she wanted to still make me feel like nothing was wrong with me. Like I wasn't broken. And when it was time for me and I was ready, that I would be ready and that she was there to support. That didn't mean she agreed. Let's be clear.
Right.
I know
Still,
you listen.
right.
So
right.
I know that
Mine
you
too.
wanted me to wait until marriage. But I think that's the biggest thing to me that stands out about my first time is that when I was ready, I feel like I had enough conversations to make an adult decision, that I wasn't deciding for anybody else but me. I was like, hey, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna live with this for the rest of my life. And that's okay.
So what about you, Penny? Like, I don't want you to go into detail about your first time. Do you feel like you at least had the conversation where you felt comfortable your first time? Or were you just kind of going with the flow because you were in a relationship, you met the guy, or the hormones just kicking too hard? Like, what was going on? You know what I'm saying?
So, I was in a relationship at the time. It was a really toxic relationship. You know, like a little high school shenanigans. Yeah. But as far as the talk, my mom, I was raised the baby of 3 girls. I have a younger sister on my dad's side right now, but at the moment, I was like the baby, so it's like, okay, no, lock and key. Chrissy can't go nowhere, or Penny can't go nowhere. I wasn't allowed to do anything, so it was just one of those things where I snuck and, you know, experimented, right? And so that's just pretty much what happened.
And see, I was kind of like that too, where I was the youngest and the only girl, and my brothers, they're 8 and 10 years older than me, and I'm like you, where I have a younger sister now, but that she's 9, so like, you know, back then I was the only girl, right, the youngest, and I was sheltered. Like, I was sheltered, and I can't help it but admit or think that my mom just felt uncomfortable to a certain extent having those talks with me, because even the way she interacts with my brothers is completely different, right, even the way she interacts with me, that's natural, right?
I feel like that with my kids now, and my kids are small, but I'm like,
I gotta ask now, because you're the one with the kids. So for us, like, would you approach that talk with your son different than you would approach that talk with your daughter?
No, I think my mom gave me the right formula. I mean, everything else after that part it was awkward. Right. It was not fun or enjoyable. So I don't know who out there is having these great lavish first times. But right. Tell me the story, honey. But I think the right formula is to just let them know up front, this is what you're getting into, and these are the possibilities. And when you're ready, I would love for you to come tell me so I can help protect you. Because I feel like that's that next level of protection, which I feel like is what we're also kind of looking for in friends. Because similar to you, one of my best friends was also there with me. Girl. So I feel like
go down without the best friend.
Close by. Look, you heard? That sense of like, yo, this is my
security, support.
I have somebody here who has my back as well, and that's what we're wanting in general before you make the decision. Even for people who do wait for marriage, they're waiting for that moment, like
to feel secure, support, and all that from that person. Right.
Exactly. So no, I say for my kids, it's the same. I can't speak for my husband, but for me,
I was just about to say, now your husband may approach the situation a little bit differently.
He might. The
conversation a little bit differently depending on which child it is. Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
I will say, my dad did have to talk with me in the sense of don't do nothing, don't let no little boys do. That was the talk. Like, don't do it. Bye.
I can't even say that. I feel like I learned more from seeing my brothers and hearing my brothers complaining about their relationships than I did through my parents. And I just know I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that parent. I want to be the parent that you can come to for the advice so you won't feel awkward. Hey, we already know we've all been through it. It's going to go through a certain amount of emotions regardless, but I want them to at least feel comfortable enough to come to me the first time And for me to be the go-to person that they have those, conversations and share those experiences with to get advice. Like, your friends can't advise you the way an adult can advise you, right? And whether they not realize that. Like, I didn't realize that when I was doing the deal. I didn't realize that my parents, had been doing the deal, so.
Right, to create you for some reason.
Right.
It's like ethereal
experts at doing the deal.
Like, what?
So, yeah. You just gotta go with the flow, but yeah, so it was awkward for everybody. It's not bad.
Y'all got us. Women Unplugged. You guys plugged in and y'all got us. Because this topic, I don't know I would have ever chose this.
Right, the first one, y'all trying to get real down and dirty. Straight to the point.
It's okay. It's
all of
okay.
it. So, my penny for your thoughts today is going off of the conversation we had earlier with Miss Curvy Betty. She mentioned how sometimes we let fear get in the way of, the vision that we have, or that, what God has put in our heart to give to share with the world. So my penny for your thoughts today is believe you can, and you're halfway there.
Wow, yes,
I like that.
Spoken word. Yes, and you know what? I really, really have to thank our viewers and our listeners for plugging in, tuning in with us today. First episode, y'all already lit. St. Patrick's. I don't know if y'all did nothing or not, but we lit for y'all, okay?
Shout out to Curvy Betty Wine.
Yes.
So much, Lauren, for coming and hanging out with us. And of course, listeners, thank you for plugging in. Viewers, thank you for plugging in.
Thank you so much.
And make sure you go ahead and click the like and subscribe button that is below. But also make sure you follow us on our platform at WomanUnplugged_ on Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook.
You better.
Make sure you plug in, because when you do, much like today, you get to help us pick our topics and choose the tea that you want to hear.
Yes, and stay hooked in on all the good tea.
Much.
Everybody likes tea.
Okay.
Listen
The good
here.
tea.
Right?